Yes, I'm sure. God. All right, it started streaming. Tell me if you see it start.
Let me hit the whole refresho. Uh, yep, there's definitely stuff there.
I'm
I see
viewing
you
on the
looking around
watch
like you're
page.
crazy.
All right, good. Here we go. All right, it started streaming. Tell me if you see
No,
it
don't
start.
do that. Stop, Bobby. Stop talking in the past.
There we go. Um, hey Todd. Pop out chat. That's the button I'm looking for. Okay, so that's what I want to do. I don't want to watch the stream because I'm in it. Um,
Oh God, there's two Todds.
da, da, da. All right, I'm doing this. I'm doing that, and this is what I do every time we ever broadcast anything live. Before we, Cassie will know, before we actually start, I leave all of the people who are nicely here
Anxiously
with me
awaiting you?
alone to keep everything afloat while I go grab a drink and so I'll be right back.
So how are you? Since we now have to keep this boat afloat, apparently.
I'm muted. So now that I'm unmuted, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I crit glitched my pancake artisan roll the other day.
In real life?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yep.
sad. How do you? I mean, pancakes are. Huh.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you ever seen the little Bisquick things that have the pancake mix in them, and you just add water to them and shake them up, and you're good to go.
No, but I believe that would be a thing. That sounds like something that definitely exists in the world.
It's super convenient
Sure.
because they make like a dozen or so pancakes out of them. It's enough for two or three people. Uh, but like as I fail at Googling.
I would say you've got me intrigued in what the story is. You can't just.
So
You
I'm
gotta.
looking for the things so that I can show them to you.
I mean, I believe you. This is a thing. It sounds like
I mean,
Gogurt or something.
all right. Yeah, and then I just tried to, figure out how to Google and talk at the same time. And apparently this is not how I do it because I really just want this image. There it is. There, I've thrown it into the Twitch chat and I will throw it into this chat. So, and me being the idiot that I am, I'm like, oh, I'll just, fill this thing up with water and give it a shake, not paying attention to the fact that the instructions specifically say to not do that. Like, I would
Oh.
just use a cup and a half of water. I'm like, why is there no demarcation on the side of this bottle as to how much water that should be? Oh, apparently I can't put the image in the chat. Whatever. So yeah, no, giant idiot. Here I am, work 17 years in the restaurant industry, crit glitch pancakes.
I mean, it doesn't sound like you failed the pancakes. It sounds like you failed the pancake convenience thingy of Bisquick, right?
I mean, I didn't read the instructions.
Yeah.
It's a pretty low roll.
What is happening?
We're talking about pancakes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know what's happening there.
Oh.
All right, I'm about to kick us off.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's real good.
Do you have like an itinerary for us to talk about? Otherwise,
Sort of.
besides talking about Opti, because apparently he's all you people care about that are listening.
I do love Opti. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame people. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this party started. Hey, Cassie, you want to do me a favor and shoot a message out into the media channel of the Violent Life Discord?
Okay. Can you put me the chat thing I need in the Skype? Is it in there?
Like a link?
Yeah, that.
Maybe
that.
this link will work. Let's see.
Yeah.
Whatever the
there you
last
go.
that's whatever the last link was on my clipboard. So hopefully that leads to our channel.
It's a YouTube channel. Is that right?
Hopefully
Supposed to
it
be
doesn't-
YouTube?
Hopefully it doesn't lead
Not
to
Twitch?
the other thing I was other video I was watching.
Is
Let's
that
be
what you
honest.
want? The YouTube?
You're
Yes, that's
You're
it.
a married
Casper,
man
it's
with
it's
two
Okay.
kids.
Okay.
You ain't got time. At least for covert stuff.
That's the truth.
All right.
Okay,
Dropped.
it's dropped.
Dropped.
All right, and I am going to hit the record button here. Boom, and here we go, everybody. Hey everybody! Welcome to the Complex Action Actual Play Cast Party. This is the episode we do every month where we get together for an hour, hit the record button, and just have a nice casual time talking about the campaign so far, what our thoughts are, what our out of character reactions are, how things might be going, where things might be going, and just generally have a good time hanging out. It gives us an opportunity to kind of give our listeners a behind the scenes look at our approach to the campaign. We also record live, so hello to the chat room there. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. I have collected a few questions for the cast from the community via Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, whatever method I could, and we'll get to those throughout the show. But those of you listening live, please feel free to ask any questions you'd like to throughout the show. This is sort of a mildly directed but mostly casual hangout of sorts, so we can take live questions. We're professionals like that. Just do me a favor and do me and the cast members a huge favor, and please preface your question with a bunch, like 5 or 6 question marks, so that it's easy to pick out while the chat is flying by. Yeah, and thank you, Todd David. He's complimenting me on doing this on the first take. That is quite an achievement. Thank you. So, how are we've got tonight joining us for the cast party, Cassie, who plays Pillar, and Rob, who plays Leroy. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How about you, buddy?
Doing.
Go ahead. I was
No,
about to
it's
forget
too late now.
about you.
I feel really awkward. Let's start over from the top.
Yeah, how about you, Rob?
I'm doing all right. It's finally November.
Finally, November. Yeah, this is when it drops down to like the mid 80s here in South Carolina. So it gets pretty
How do
cold
you live
probably out
there,
there where you are, aren't you? Doesn't it, Cassie?
It's normally cold this time of year, but it's actually been 70 and 80 all weekend, which is insane.
Ooh.
It should be like in the 50s at least.
It's like the 50s here right now. How do you live in a place that's 80 all year round?
That sounds delightful. That
Sounds horrifying.
Well, we do get a winter. The joke here is that we have 2 seasons, winter and summer. And winter does not last very long, but for like 2 months, or I should say, I mean, winter technically lasts for 3 months for the whole world, but I just mean cold weather in general lasts for like 2 or 3 months. So, and it goes from hot to cold, and then to warm again. We do get snow every once in a while.
I was about to ask, what is the most amount of snow you guys have ever had?
We had it pretty bad a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and that was about 6 inches, maybe. No, it was like at most 6 inches. And that was really bad.
Cassie?
Like we measure it in feet.
Okay.
We
Thank
usually
God.
we usually get ice storms sometime in January or February, and the city will shut down for 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel a little bit better because, like, he's like, oh, we might get 6 inches. It's like, are you kidding me?
No.
Well,
we-
I feel like I do have to kind of defend myself a little bit. I did spend some time living in northern Minnesota.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that'll do
So,
it.
where
So you're aware of what snow actually is.
yeah, we had
And how it's...
while the winter that I was there, they had something like 8 qualified blizzards, and it was while Clinton was in office, and Clinton declared it a national disaster area, and so I got like all the bad winter all at once.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was.
I have
pretty good.
a irrational hatred of snow.
Yeah, rational, yeah.
And irrational with how much I hate it.
Well,
Ugh.
so I do want to kick us off with a couple of pieces of news before we get into answering some questions and stuff. Also, yeah, so straight into the news. As you can see, we don't always get everybody here during our cast parties. This is our second one, but in particular, Damien was planning on being here. He plays Payday, and he is not doing too hot. He had to get his appendix taken out, so he's recovering from that. So people, please wish him well. Yeah. I feel like there was more I was gonna say to that. He's the bright side is he lives in Canada, so it like didn't cost him any money. So that's good. It cost him. I think he said it cost him like $20 for the painkillers that they gave him, and that's like crazy. It cost me like 3 times that every time I have to go to the doctor for this like ongoing chronic thing that I have, and we're still paying for the birth of our second child. I mean, geez.
I got news for you, Bobby. You're going to be paying for that for about 18 years.
Well, we're gonna be paying for the life of that child, yeah. But yeah, okay, you're right. You're right, Rob. Kids are expensive. Another piece of news: the website. I think I might have mentioned this last time, but the website for the actual play is officially up. I don't know if I said this on the show last time. I know I've mentioned it on our podcast episodes, but there's a map on there. It's like a Google Maps powered map of Columbia 2078. So that's pretty neat. If you go on there, it's complexaction.net/actualplay. Actual play is one word. So go on there. Also, I just noticed this evening when I was getting prepared for our show that we have a 5-star review on iTunes. That's pretty cool.
Who'd you pay for
Somebody
that?
listens to us?
Yeah, there are a couple of people in the chat room who claim to listen to us, but they're just in the chat, so there's no real evidence.
I feel like one of them isn't real because there's no way we have 2 Todds.
Oh, Clone Todd. Yeah, the 5-star review was from Relative Dimension, which is another Shadowrun podcast out there. They went on there and gave us a review, so that was really nice of them. Let's see, what did they say? They said, if you're looking for... Here, I'll use my like announcer radio voice. If you're looking for another actual play podcast, then you can't go wrong with Complex Action. The players consist of some familiar names amongst the podcast community, and the characters are great. Definitely fun to listen to. And then they gave us 5 stars.
So who are the familiar people he's talking about? Because I don't see any of them here.
Yeah, none of them are here. Huh?
Hmm.
Cassie's
Awkward.
familiar.
Am I familiar? I think I'm only familiar to you people.
Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough?
Yeah, that's enough for me, man. It's enough.
So we got our first question from the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer that so we don't get behind on that. Chris Vandergriff, hey Chris, said, in hindsight, would anyone like a character redo, like a different build? So that's a question for you, for you guys, you players. What do you guys think?
I'll let you go first because well, no, I'll go. I'll have a secondary question. Let's break this into um, character personality and character mechanics.
Let me answer your question with a different question.
Well, so I wanted to throw the question out because like if Cassie went first and had all of this great answers that I'm sure I'm giving her plenty of time to think about right now. And then I was like, oh, but what about also this? Like, what about in this way? Then it's like, oh crap, now we got to go back.
I mean, my only thing, I like my character, but I would have loved to have been a technomancer. So I would have happily played more of a technomancer face hybrid if we, But no, I wouldn't. I'm fine with the character I have.
Maybe there's
She's got a
still time.
Yeah, she's just gonna suddenly emerge.
Yeah, you never know what could happen. Yeah,
It's possible, You have a million essence still, right?
I have like 5, I think.
Yeah. See, so you don't even lose that much.
Do you lose essence if you suddenly emerge?
It's a
No.
weird situation because like there's no rules for it in
No
the game
rules,
as written
just
right now.
right.
We would have to talk to Cliff and see about how he did it with his actual play.
Well, that
But,
was like. I mean, I guess it's the same thing. I was about to say that was somebody turning into like a magician or something, but I guess it's like the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Magicians,
It's the same thing.
technomancers.
I guess I could have
Thematically.
amnesia. I just didn't know I was a technomancer this whole time.
Blatant Awakening and Emergence was a 4th edition thing that existed. You paid some karma for it in character generation, and at some dramatically appropriate part during the campaign, if the stars aligned and the GM was cool with it, ta-da!
Ta-da!
I think that'd be a little weird for me, but no, I'm happy with my character as is. I wouldn't want to redesign her being a mundane face.
So, Rob, you said you wanted to answer a different question. Go ahead.
Well, so thematically, I kind of like being the grumpy old man because I'm a grumpy old man.
Sure.
And then as far as mechanics, there's some things I could have done slightly different here or there. But that would be because I really like humans in this setting.
Yeah.
Because they're very balanced and they are everywhere. But like also the priority thing for the mechanics side, having edge is super awesome instead of having to dump my first like 25 to feel safe. My first 25 karma to feel safe. I should say.
Sure. Yeah.
So being able to start with some would have been really nice, but
one of you guys
I don't
should
know.
have started with a gang's knowledge.
No, that's something that's easy to pick up though.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
So I probably would have changed some things a little bit more because we have like Payday, who is a mostly grumpy old man with a super not girlfriend. We have Pillar, who's kind of in a Miller, and we have Leroy, who's like a grumpy old man, and then we have two children, basically.
Yeah.
Let's just
Sure.
call them the spades that they are. So there could have been some room for a little bit more group cohesion. I could have maybe toned him down from being as grumpy to being something more in like Pillar's area where it's a lot more like meh, whatever.
I like it though. I think that that Leroy creates a tension in the group that is sometimes needed. He often says the things that need to be said that no one will say, and kind of pisses people off sometimes when it needs to be done. And I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I get what you mean with that. There are certain things that would have happened anyway. Like, I'm pretty sure any character that I had that had any kind of idea about being around the block would have still tried to jump on that dude for trying to mind control me.
Sure.
He didn't try to mind control you, though. It was just commanding voice. It's an add-up power. It's way different.
It's the same thing. He tried to make me do
No.
something I didn't want to do.
No. He's just very persuasive.
Yeah, but I get that from Leroy's perspective. Leroy did try to jump him though. He just was.
Yeah.
He's just really awesome.
You're just
I used
bullshit and
Edge.
used Edge. You just cheated.
Hey, I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat this time.
This time, he says.
So, Cassie, I want to hear something from you. There's a question I got that has to do with you, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. So we got a question from Twitter at Ktown Patriot. Asks lots of questions on our shows. Love that guy. So he asks, so is Danny, a.k.a. Pillar, heading back to jail when she pops the drug test at her next probation check-in? Because, Pillar's using Novacoke all the time.
I
is it even
totally
really a drug?
I totally forgot about that. I should get me my license. If I get a license, right? I'll get a license. It's only 2R. I can find a license.
A license to use Novacoke?
Yeah, it's just I just need a prescription.
You know how those
Prescription
orcs
for-
are? They get so uppity and aggressive. The Novacoke helps even her
Yeah,
out. It's
calming-
medicinal.
It's medicinal. It calms me down.
I'm-
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, well,
That's a great. I'll leave that to you then. That's your decision.
I'm
Ugh.
really looking forward to your next meeting with the probation
That's
officer.
fun. Oh, damn, we lost Haley. I was like, I'll just have Haley piss in a cup for me, but she's gone.
The
We have no other female characters. The problem.
the next. So we've got the Coco Taxi now. That is, I think, going to be amazing. I don't really have any more to say about it, but that I really love Pillar's Coco Taxi.
I'm gonna start making money in my downtime.
Absolutely.
I
Do
Oh
you-
yeah.
I want to
Do
get a
you-
job with that pizza delivery kid. Oh, no one's heard that yet, though, right? But you guys will see. I want to start working with him with the Coco Taxi.
That's
So
a
let
good
me
idea.
ask you this. Do you love the Coco Taxi or do you love that everybody hates the Coco Taxi?
No, I love the Coco Taxi. I genuinely love the Coco. It's like second
No, I was-
character of the Coco Taxi.
I
was more meaning
believe
Bobby.
that. I believe
Oh,
that I
Bobby.
heard. Oh, you're talking to me. No, I think that it's. I think it's a ray of sunshine in a dark world.
I'm gonna make sure it's painted yellow from now.
Yeah, it's. I really do think the idea of the Coco Taxi is awesome. I think it's hilarious that Payday hates it so much. I think Cassie. Speaking of, whether or not Cassie you like it or for ironic reasons or not, I think you had talked about Coco Taxis before you ever got one on the actual play. So I
Yeah.
do have to agree that I think you do have a genuine love for those vehicles.
I really, really love that they take the time to find things in other countries and stuff like that and bring that here. Like you don't see Coco Taxis in the U.S. that much. So seeing one in Seattle, I've not been to Seattle, but I would assume I wouldn't probably see Coco Taxis. I love that this thing that's super popular, especially in like Cuba,
Yeah.
is in Seattle. And I really like that.
Yep, I do too. That leads me to another question that has been confusing me. It hasn't been confusing me. It's been, but it pops into my head every time I'm going back and editing the episodes and when we're recording and everything. So, Blake or Pillar, what's the deal?
What about her?
So
Blake's the name
sometimes,
on her sin.
so sometimes you correct. So sometimes she corrects people and says, "No, you can call me Blake," even though they're people that would know her as Pillar, and vice versa. Is there any particular reason why she does that?
Yeah, just Blake is the name on my sin, so I'm introducing you with my first name, right? It's making it more personal. So especially whenever I'm talking to something that should be like a contact or Johnson, it's kind of, or some reason that I want to make it really a personal connection, or at least give that impression, right? So it's
Right.
the
Okay.
idea.
So it's
Instead of
sort
my
of
work
it's sort of
name.
like Like, how are you doing, Mr. Frankenberger? Oh, call me Bobby. It's kind of a thing like
Yeah,
that.
100%. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, okay, great. The that leads me to a question that we got from Todd, one of the Todds in the chat room there. Todd, I'm gonna say Gizzy. Is that right? He can't hear me.
Sure.
I mean, he can hear me, but
Yeah.
I can't hear him.
Just yeah, go with it. Go with it.
Todd Gizzy asks, how did the runners? I like this question. How did the runners each get their street names? We'll start with Rob. How did how did Leroy?
He doesn't have a street name.
Yeah.
He is just Leroy.
So does Leroy want a street name, or is he like too cool for school in that regard?
At current in the actual play, he does not see himself as a Shadowrunner.
That's
He
right.
has a fake sin. So like, you know, it's like, my name is Rob, but on if I had fake identification, which I totally do not, I wouldn't have my same name on it. That would be crazy.
Right.
It'd be
That's something that I often forget about his character, and part of what is starting to continue to make him even more grumpy is that he doesn't consider himself a Shadowrunner, at least not yet, right? So that's kind of neat.
yeah. And if he ends up with something being stuck on him, well, we'll see what happens.
That's what I was going to say next, Cassie. It's your guys' job to give him a street name.
Only if somebody in the chat tells me where I got mine from. I have no
Who?
idea. But I was very much going for the angle that I would probably be the one to bring people together. And so, yeah, she is supposed to be like the pillar of the community. That's kind of my loose mindset. But
Oh, yeah.
I would love a more fun, entertaining reason that it's that if somebody wants to make one for me.
We should do that. We should put that out to our listeners. So everybody listening right now, why don't we have a little bit of a contest? You want to do that? Are we good for
Sure.
opening it up to that, Cassie?
Yeah, do it. I would love that my reason's the one she tells people and someone else give me a really stupid reason that it is that. Like, I don't know, she busted her nose on a pillar or something. Like, I'll leave it to
Like,
Could it shake the nickname so you tried to make it something that was not, air quotes, stupid?
Yeah, I like that idea. So all of our listeners, what you want to do is go to our website, complexaction.net/contact, or if you just go to complexaction.net and go to the contact page, go in there and put like in the subject line, Pillar's street name or something like that. Everybody send us your best story for how Pillar got her street name, and I like the idea that it's something. This is what it sounds like you're saying, that it maybe there is an actual real and maybe not
Flattering.
Give me something that's not cool. Give me
Yeah.
something that's just completely mundane and normal.
and so
usually
that's
what
why
I love
she
about my
had to
character.
come up with something that was different, because it's not a.
Yeah.
I got it. I love it.
I would love to hear something that's just some average teenage horror story, and that's just something embarrassing, maybe even.
Yeah, I love that. So that's a contest, and whoever comes up with something, whichever one Cassie likes the most, that's going to be the one that is
Sure.
is the real part of the story.
I also still don't have my tattoos figured out. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to have tattoos. If anyone wants to give me some ideas for good prison tats.
You
Ooh,
were
yeah.
you were in prison, so that's gotta happen, right? Man, maybe you have some stupid tattoo, and that is what they started basing it off of.
Let's
Like
see.
you were gonna get some grand sculpture across like your back shoulder blades, and they started drawing one of those Greek columns, and then that person who was doing it got murdered, so you have just like a single pillar there.
Oh,
All right, so Damien, like I said, isn't here, but I did throw this question to him so that we could find out where Payday came from, and he gave me an answer here from his Canadian couch, which it's got to be different, right? It's like plaid probably, or made out of flannel.
I go with flannel.
Yeah. He says that's a bit of a fun. I should use. He's always got this gruff but Canadian. I can't do a Canadian accent. Anyway, there's. He says that's a bit of a fun story. So essentially, he worked the Seattle Shadows under his sinless name Hector, which was what his name was when he lived in South Carolina before he moved to Seattle, and it's what Eon will occasionally call him. You'll notice she often refers to him as Hector. Payday is a relatively new name he took after making the skeletons that now lay in his closet. So after some secret event happened, he took the name Payday, and essentially he says essentially he's dehumanized himself into what he feels is the only thing on his horizon, just a payday. Oh, and he adds he's also partial to the candy bars of the same name. So there's that. Elric, I think.
See, that's a fun story, right? Why do you have the name Payday? That sounds like a cool, crazy name. I really like the candy bar. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just a big fan of nuts and nougat.
Is Elric? I know Cliff isn't here, but is Elric? Elric's not his character's real name, is it?
I'd have to look at his sheet again, but I think it is. I think he's not one of those Shadowrunners.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't open up his sheet, but I felt like there was another name. You know what keeps popping into my head is Daniel, but
I'm Danny.
Danny is Pillar. Yeah, so maybe
Danielle,
Elric is his name. Yeah. And Haley is just a name that she was given, or maybe she even named herself because she's got amnesia. So that's relatively new, but it's not a street name per se. So I guess the only two people who really have a street name are Payday and Pillar. Interesting.
I think we're the only two that are actually Shadowrunners, right? I feel like
you're
everyone
the
else
only
was
two
kind of in that boat of figuring it out.
I'm a hired thug.
Exactly. So nobody else identifies as a Shadowrunner yet. Elric, I think, is coming around to it in a sort of enthusiastic way.
Only so we can steal him a car? Isn't that what we were discussing last time?
Yeah, I think that comes up at one point. He has the conversation with everybody that he wants to steal a car.
I think, or maybe he just wants to steal anything so we can get paid. I'm not quite sure what that conversation was. I kind of feel like he just wanted to steal like pencils in the office.
So another question I get, which is more of like a technical managerial type question, which is how long does the release date usually trail the actual play date? And probably the people here will not be surprised to hear me say that I have actually a spreadsheet that tells me exactly how far behind we are. I'm kind of notorious for being too organized. So the last recording that we did was on September 27th, and the last episode of that will probably come out. No, it wasn't September 27th. It was October 27th, sorry. And that'll come out on Christmas Day. So, Merry Christmas.
The one we did just last week, that'll be Christmas?
Yeah, that'll be Christmas.
Okay.
That's our Christmas episode.
I have to put up bullet points whenever we do these, so I know we're not going past that.
But we probably should talk about that kind of thing before. But anyway, we'll do better next time. The last thing that people heard, let me give a different perspective on it. So the last episode that people heard came out on October 30th. That was the episode called The Coco Taxi. That was the episode where you got the Coco Taxi. And you guys got the job from Z-Trip.
Okay.
That to go into Blue Data and do a data steal. So your team just got the job. and we recorded we recorded that one back in September. So we're about 2 months ahead right now, and but that amount of time continues to grow, and it grows at a pretty decent rate. So I think so. It says here, like for example, by January, by the time we record in January, we will be 3 months ahead, and so on. So it keeps growing. Just for those who are interested in that sort of thing. Have we gotten any more questions?
There was one, a Todd number A.
Well, why
I don't know
don't
if
you
he's
read the
Todd 1 or
question,
Todd 2.
Rob? What was the question?
Anyone with bad luck on the team?
I'm gonna have to
I
pull it.
did.
Go ahead.
I don't think so. I didn't take it, but I wish I had. It seems
I don't
very
think
appropriate
anybody
now.
has the actual quality, but as far as having bad luck,
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
we just
I
had a really
have been
fun.
arrested and am a carrier, so I think I win that game.
Yeah, we just had a fun recording last time where they were on a run, and Pillar did have some bad luck there. It would have definitely qualified there, but no, I don't think anybody has the bad luck quality. That's always a really fun quality, and I agree, Cassie, that negative quality would be right up your alley as a player. It seems like your style.
Yeah, I think I get a few more in character reasons, and maybe we'll just take it after what happened last time.
Yeah, you can just have it. There you go. So no, I don't think I probably next time we do one of these, I'm gonna have to pull up everybody's sheet so I can look. I'm really bad. I still haven't done it. I'm in the process of putting everybody's negative qualities on like an easy to look at cheat sheet, so I can always have it there and use them against you. But
Sure.
because I always forget.
I gotta get a prescription for Nova Coke.
Seriously though, can you get a
Write it down.
prescription for Nova Coke?
Sure, man. Atslin will sell you anything inside of a pharmacy. I just need an Azzy-Sin and a prescription for Nova Coke.
Oh yeah. Well, you better work on that. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make that harder for you to do. I guess it's probably just you just have to pay for it. So our Opti question, I joked before we actually started recording. I joked with these guys that we're getting a question about Opti, like we're just not interesting enough, so they have to start asking about other people that aren't on the show. But it's actually a little more pointed than that. K-Town Patriot on Twitter asked, what would it take for Opti to make a cameo as, say, a top-tier fixer for the team after they move up from the minor league? I guess we just have to ask him. He's a pretty busy guy, though.
I was gonna say, do we need to do anything? I feel like we just need to talk to him and find out if he has free time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. We have to, we have to go on a quest, and no, but he's a pretty busy guy. I'll ask him. I think it's awesome to kind of get other people and do like cross collaboration in that way. Maybe if anything, maybe I could get him to record, like he's a Johnson or something. Maybe you guys make a trip to, well, Opti in character, like he's not in Chicago anymore, is he? Isn't he in Seattle or is he in Chicago?
Ooh, I don't know off the top of my head. I really don't know.
Yeah,
I remember there was a thing where he moved, but I don't know where to or from. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh man, that was a year ago. I was saying last Halloween. I remember he did I think like a disassembler's job. That would have been in Seattle, but.
I think that's what's making me think that he was in Seattle, because he's got those like info and a run thing, and a lot of them are about Seattle. So I don't know. Long story short is, I guess we'd have to ask him, and see. I make no promises though. So, chat, keep bringing us questions, but that's all the questions I got ahead of time. What other things do we want to talk about? We still got a cast party here going on. What are your guys' feelings on the campaign so far? How you guys doing?
It's all right.
It's all right.
I can't
Thanks.
talk
High
about
praise.
anything. We're way
I feel like we're consistently drastically underpaid.
I love Z-Trip. I guess that's
Yeah, Z-Trip is fun to play. I have no idea because it's my understanding. I think you told me this, Cassie, but it's my understanding that Z-Trip, Justin Fenton, I think, is the patron who sent that to me. I can't believe I just pulled that out of nowhere. But that's his character, right?
I believe so. I definitely have GM'd for Z-Trip or a Z-Trip, which I will assume is the same one.
Yeah. I wonder. I'd love to talk to him sometime and find out if I'm how different my interpretation of Z-Trip is from his.
I just remember I put like a piece of bubble gum, I think, on a bar at Dante's Inferno, and he was chewing it later. He was not dissuaded from just giving it a go.
It sounds
That's a
like
thing.
good old Z-Trip.
Yeah. No, he was a lot of fun. I would definitely love to see him make a cameo at some point. Come play with us.
That would be fun. Maybe I'll get him. That would be weird though.
What?
If we had an episode where I got him to play his character, that would be weird.
What?
But oh, what just happened?
There's a Mr. J using a Vox's computer and can't seem to find the Skype call, so I attempted to add what turns out to be Vox's Skype information, because I found that before I found Cliff's.
So what you're telling me is you're trying to get Cliff into the call.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let you continue to do that while I try not to let it distract me any further.
It's too late for that. I seem to be failing at it already, so.
Let me see. We'll do this on the fly here. It's live radio, folks. Is the cast party still happening? Yes, it is, Mr. Johnson. So let's add you to the... No, don't... Oops. Hold on. Let's hang up on that. I called his cell phone. Let's call your Skype. Get you on here. And we'll try to make this fluidly happen.
Hello?
Hey,
Ah.
Cliff.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I should probably mute the video on there now, so
We couldn't hear it. I was
I'm
just
not hearing.
you answered me in such a sort of like surprised way that I was for a second not sure I was supposed to call you.
What? Okay. Yeah. I think I'm
So,
on.
Cliff, how's it going?
It's going well.
That's good. Glad you
We
could
just
make it
got
here.
our actual play dropped for the day, so
Nice. Excellent. So I want to ask you a question that we got everybody else has answered. Elric, that is not a street name, is it?
no.
That's his real name. So he doesn't have a street name yet.
Nope. He
Oh.
hasn't thought to give himself one or anything, so
It just needs to be Fireball, right? Or Flamethrower, whatever it was
Ooh,
you melted
yeah.
that lock with.
Yeah,
that is
you
getting
guys
to
are
be
going
a
to have to think
signature
hard
move.
about that.
Just to start calling you Sparky.
I mean,
Nice.
I don't think that works when he's using fire all the time, but, you know.
And there was an interesting question that I thought I would get your take on. Chris Vandergriff earlier asked us, in hindsight, would any of the characters like a character redo, like a different build on their character now that they've had some time with it?
Not exactly. I might, if given the chance, redo some of my
Say
alchemical
drop alchemy.
preparations choices because of the limitations on the health ones. I'm limited to generally a higher drain code on them and
Right.
having to activate them myself. That said, it does also give me control over when they go off, which is kind of nice. I don't have to worry about other players forgetting to drink their potions.
Right. Yeah. It seems like every time Elric gives Every time Elric gives Pillar a what is it, improved reaction or something like that, that it never works or something.
Oh, intuition. I think I get improved intuition.
Intuition.
Agility is the one that failed most recently, but of course that one's. It's not really a spoiler, but
Right.
yeah, I'll have to make the agility one higher.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm remembering that you often ask her before you make it.
That's right. That one you made too low force, so it didn't go off.
That's right. Yep.
So
So I'll have to make a more potent one next time.
Do you have
have
binding? Can you bind spirits?
No, I am morally against binding spirits.
I would say they help you make stronger preparations. Fair enough.
at the expense of his soul.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to a spirit. How would you like it if somebody just pulled you into their world, you had no control over it, and then forced you to do things, many of which were probably dangerous to your person,
That's
without a
not
care
prison.
of what happened to you in the process?
Darling, the servants. Just let them. Just use them as you need.
That pretty much sounds like
They're
prison
not real
to
people.
me. So
So, yeah, I don't want to do that to spirits that ask for help. Thank you very much.
Don't really see a problem here. You need to get over it. Everyone does it. It's fine. Sorry, that's a totally different character. Pillar wouldn't. Have been.
I feel
You
like
don't even
Pillar
know what you're
just
talking
wouldn't
about,
care.
sis.
Pillar would just be like, whatever you want to do, I guess.
No, what's a spirit?
So yeah, I limit myself to summoning spirits,
Right.
just for roleplay reasons.
Yeah. Well, those are the best decisions to make. The ones that are you're kind of like hamstringing yourself, but for roleplay reasons. I love that. What? Ooh, we just got another question here. I'm going to read it on the fly without knowing what it is. I'm curious how the step siblings feel about having an attachment within the shadows. When a job goes wrong and the other is about to be killed or arrested, are you turning to accept their fate?
what a very interesting question.
First of all, we're not step siblings. We're adopted. That's
Yeah.
totally different. Secondly, that is
Well, you're
whenever. Fine. Yeah, I'm the one who's adopted. Maybe you're adopted. They just didn't tell you. No. Yeah, I like it. It gives me a reason to really care about the group. I won't spoil the current episode, right? But that becomes an issue in that.
So what's the most recent thing that's happened in
Yeah,
the episodes that have aired?
So the episode that just came out is entitled "The Coco Taxi." It's the episode where you guys get the Coco Taxi. Elric just got his new digs and threw a housewarming party, and at the end of the episode, you guys had just met with Z-Trip and got the job to go infiltrate Blue Data to for the data steal. So that's what's happened. You just got the job.
Okay,
So yeah,
so I know what not to say.
right.
Not to talk about.
Right.
Yeah,
So
everything that's relevant to this question that I'd love to talk about, we can't talk about yet. So.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there was a little bit about I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. We've got a little bit of a flash of how Elric might react in on their first run when he.
That's right. I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, when he toasted that first guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just flung a really high force flamethrower spell because it looked like he was going to shoot at his sister. So, yeah, he's a bit touchy about that. I think Elric, one of the major reasons he's in the shadows is so he can be around and kind of keep an eye out for Pillar. Though he would never admit that to her.
Sure. That's yeah, that's it's an interesting thing that I don't think that we necessarily explicitly talked about whether or not maybe Elric like kind of convinced Rudolph to hook them up on the same team together in like back channel ways. I wonder if he did that, you know.
Chris was just asking again about how far behind the podcast is. I know you have a fancy spreadsheet for that.
Yeah, we did answer that question not just a little bit ago. The podcast is currently about 2 months behind. It has about 2 months of lag time, and that's slowly growing. By the end of the year, or by whenever we record our first episode in January, we will be 3 months behind. So it's slowly growing in that way. It could grow faster. It depends on the length of the episodes that I put out. I've been trying to put out shorter episodes, whereas tangentially related, I've noticed that the Arcology podcast is starting to put out epically longer episodes. So
Yeah, we're trying to catch up a bit. We've been dropping essentially a session's worth of audio every week for the last month or 5 weeks now. So
yeah, I've noticed that. I did want to ask you that is your because I suspected that might be the reason you're trying to close that gap a little bit.
yeah, I want to be able to do some other kind of cool, more not necessarily live, but more fan interaction stuff, like you're able to do with this.
Well, we won't be
So
able to
if
do
I-
it forever. I'm going to have to do some voodoo to close that gap too.
So yeah, I think I'll probably slow it back down when we get closer, because I definitely need to. It's the way people's schedules work and everything. It's you have to give yourself a little bit of a padding in
Yeah.
order to prevent having a gap in your transmissions.
Absolutely. Don't you guys record every 2 weeks as well?
It varies a lot. Over
Oh.
the summer, we're lucky to get together once a month.
Oh, okay.
Over the winter, sometimes weekly for short spurts.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, we do every other week, and I can't manage any more than that. So, it would be fun.
It's also about to be holiday season and stuff, so I imagine there's gonna be a little bit more. Sorry, can't make it this week, guys. So
It's actually, oddly enough, the holiday seasons are easier for us to get together.
Yeah.
I think the session that I'll be posting next week for actual play will have been recorded December 26th of last year.
Wow. That's quite some time to make up. But yeah, we so before we I guess head out, close up, I was kind of leading in this direction just as Cliff showed up, so I'm glad he did show up. I want to get kind of like a state of the union where you guys are. Again, you got to think back a little bit and try to avoid spoilers a bit, but sort of like where you are with your character and just I guess final thoughts about how you're doing, or if you have any questions in general that you want to bring up and talk about in our last few minutes. So, Cliff, why don't you go since you just showed up?
Right, yeah, with Elric, I think at this point he's starting to actually seriously think of himself as a Shadowrunner. It seems like a real Shadowrunner kind of job. And whereas before he was just kind of dipping his toes in it, seeing some dangerous stuff in the neighborhood, now he's actually trying to break into a building to do some sort of a data steal.
Right.
And he kind of feels like he needs to prove himself to the grizzled veterans on the team. So he definitely wants to employ as much of his skill as possible, but he also wants to try to avoid any violence like what happened before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That said, keeping his sister alive through the whole thing is probably the most important thing to him. But he's trying to think of perhaps some other avenues that he could make some extra union off of this stuff too.
Yeah, that makes me think of a question. So, does Elric look up to some of the more experienced members of the team?
He thinks Leroy is just like awesome, like an action hero.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a hero worship there. As far as Payday goes, Elric's probably more interested in his technology than his person. That he kind
Yeah.
of likes messing with him a little bit, and he seems, kind of gruff,
That's
and is kind
yeah,
of
I've
worth.
wondered that. It's sometimes I can't tell if it's Elric's naivete or whatever, um, in the way that he pokes at Payday's sensitivity about people drawing a relationship between him and Eon, and Elric always seems to like really poke at that.
Yeah, and Elric's really trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Being someone who, considers spirits to be living things, and he's just really obsessed with an interest in technology. He himself might have a teeny tiny little bit of a crush on Eon.
Oh,
So he's
interesting.
trying to feel that out a little bit too.
I never
I
thought
don't
about it
think
from
he's
that
likely to
angle.
take that anywhere, but it's something that's piqued his interest, and he wants to
Yeah.
explore it a little bit.
I never
I
really
feel
thought
like
about that angle though, about Elric comparing Eon to, say, a spirit and trying to like suss out where the what he thinks about an artificial intelligence or something that is similar to an artificial intelligence and how that relates to a spirit. That's an interesting like thing to think about.
Well, yeah, he considers the Matrix side of things to be just like another manifestation of magic. He's got gremlins of two. He's got such a mystical understanding of technology
Right.
that he equates it to magic.
Mm.
Just it's a kind of magic that he can't understand.
Cool.
Almost.
You're about to say something, Rob. I'm sorry.
so I was about to make a joke about it. I feel like there's an input-output error there. You mentioned about the
Right.
girlfriend thing.
Right.
I was just trying to be witty and amusing, but
Well, I'm sorry to bring it back up again.
it's all right. My failures will live on forever.
They're immortalized now. Um,
Damn you, internet.
so what about where is Pillar right now to go to that? Because we know that Elric thinks, we've already heard Cliff talk about it, and Elric himself expressed that he thinks like he also thinks he needs to protect her, like it's necessary. Um, where is Pillar in the world right now? Where is she at?
I like Pillar. I feel like I finally got a personality for her. I'm starting to feel the character. I think she recognizes the naive side of Elric, and she's trying to compensate or make up for that on his behalf.
Mhm.
So many things I want to say, but not yet. But yeah, this is some good examples of him doing things where he's trying to help, but in the end, sometimes a little bit more subtlety would probably be the more professional way to
Right,
go.
right.
But
Yeah, we might have some more to talk about in the next cast party or the one after that, because there is a lot more exploration of that interaction between Pillar and her brother.
yeah, I really feel like the next two episodes has probably some of the best character development we've done so far. So,
Mhm.
or next couple, depending on how you break them up.
What about what about Leroy? Leroy is one of those characters that I think is. It's so easy to look at him as just the grumpy jerk, but I think there's a lot going on there. So where is Leroy?
Um, I think it's kind of confusing and weird a little bit because like there was the little time where Leroy and Payday just went and they just got barbecue and they just
Yeah.
kind of had fun, and then for a little bit after that, I kind of wasn't in grumpy mood, and then you know things came like we went to a different scene and then we came back and then he was like back to being a grump.
Sure.
Um, there was the scene I think it was the one you just released where they were at the party and like he's like all right, and then I think that's
Oh,
when
you're talking about when he starts to give Payday a hard time with the girl that's hitting on him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have a little bit of a bromance going on,
Sure.
but um, it could be because they're just grumpy old men.
It definitely seems like they relate really well to each other. But something that I wanted to ask, and I've meant to put it in the notes and I forgot, and I'm glad that I remembered now, is what's with Leroy and Haley. Is that what's with his, like, I don't want to say weird protective nature of that, or if that's even it. Is it protective, or is he just straight up suspicious of Z-Trip?
It's a little of both. Like, he knows that Haley and Elric are kids, and I forget, how old is Pillar, or how old does she look? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, or yeah, in orc stuff, she's probably in at least her 30s. So.
Okay, so like she's been around, and Payday is very obviously able to carry himself as a professional criminal, and these guys are not. And then, he watched Elric murder a guy with the power of his mind and fire. So it's like, all right. And then he finds out the stuff about Haley not having any kind of memories or anything, and it's like, all right, that's interesting. And now we got that same guy that knows that she has this kind of disability. Shoulder shrug.
Is that how Leroy sees technomancy, as a disability?
He was more speaking of the amnesia.
Oh.
So then it's like
maybe I just revealed my biases.
I mean, they are filthy monsters and good for nothing terrorists, so it's fine. But it's like, all right, not only is she a kid who can't really look out for herself, she doesn't really know any better, and then I have this guy is trying to put us on a job to do something that's really dangerous, and it's kind of like, he's probably seen, and I imagine Payday and Pillar have, especially Pillar being in jail, like, you could smell that blood in the water, and I think that's what it is.
Right.
Where it's like, all right, this is my weak link, and I may have to, for the time being, rely on said weak link in certain places. So let me just make sure that said weak link doesn't get worse.
Sure. That's an interesting way to look at it. I'm really looking forward to exploring more of Leroy, because I think there's a lot. I mean, he's obviously got some experience in, maybe he wouldn't call it shadowrunning, but in, being a gun for hire, or at least, doing less than legal things for hire. And now he's definitely being thrown in with a Shadowrun team, and he's got to work that out,
Yeah, at the very least, this is probably the closest thing he has done to proper Shadowrunning.
Right. This next thing, especially where they just got the job to go do what is difficult to ignore, being a Shadowrun. Hey, break into this corporate office building and steal some data and bring it back to me,
Oh, Elric would be shocked to learn that this is the most Shadowrun-like thing that Leroy has done. In his mind, Elric thinks Leroy's done it all.
Right.
I mean, he's probably done a lot, but none of it was like high paid or, as air quotes, glamorous as the trids make it out to be.
Yeah. Well, isn't Leroy's experience and pedigree, so to speak, really on the streets?
Yeah, he's an uncultured thug.
And because he's got, I don't know how much we want to jump into it, because I think we'll explore it eventually in the show, but he's got family in South Carolina, in Columbia, that are like connected to the streets, like in drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, there may indeed be some bad reputation related things in there.
Right. So that'll be some interesting. Payday actually is definitely the most experienced in terms of shadowrunning. He's got a long history of shadowrunning. It's just he's been out of the game for a while. He's truly the old man of the group. So, But what any last thoughts that you guys have before we wrap things up?
Not me.
I thought it would be fun to do something, and maybe we should wait until the next cast party, or at least a cast party when we have like 4 or 5 people. But I thought it would be funny, or maybe just having more episodes under our belt would be better. But I thought it would be really fun to do superlatives. Don't
That's
you
a
think?
big word. We're not but humble Shadowrunners.
You know what I mean? Most likely to be famous, most likely to have a bad reputation.
Oh, like a yearbook.
Yeah, like yearbook superlatives. We should do that. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, we can take suggestions from the Patreon community to be like,
Not just patrons.
Which
I'll
top-
take them from everybody. So that's another thing you guys can do. Send in your list of superlatives that we could do. We'll pick some out, and then we'll on the next episode we will talk about them and decide of the list of superlatives we get who falls into the different categories. You know, like best looking and most team spirit. Stuff like that. Side note, did you know that in my senior year of high school, I was voted most likely to be famous? So I'm working on that right now.
it's funny how that works out. Like back in high school, there's like, oh, you're gonna be famous. You would think, what's he gonna be? Maybe in the movie business or
I think that's
something
what
like that.
everybody
It's like,
thought about me because I was a theater person. I was on stage all
you're
the
a
time.
heartthrob.
Yeah, I was a theater guy.
But like here we are, where the world has progressed into such a thing that like we go on the internet and be giant nerds for other people's entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. It's so yeah. Like literally anybody can turn on a microphone and start a podcast and do the things, all these things. It's awesome. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I love it. Can you guys hear that? Can you hear my chair squeaking? This is good radio.
I didn't notice.
Cliff, I'm really glad you joined us here at the last minute.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to hop in.
Yeah. How is everybody's
Wasn't sure
before
though.
we go? How is everybody's Halloween?
It was awesome.
Yeah. Cliff, I know you have kids. Did you go trick or treating with them?
Yes, my children are obsessed with Undertale, so my daughter chose our costumes, and we all dressed up as Undertale characters.
I'm not
me and
familiar.
two
Is
of
this
them.
what is that?
It's a pretty cool kind of indie computer RPG that's
Oh.
got this bizarrely big kind of niche following.
Sure.
And tons of people making all this different content and alternate universes they made up, and it's nuts. But yeah, I went as Papyrus, the skeleton, in his cool dude outfit.
Cool.
Which,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my
We went
daughter
to,
dressed up as Chara,
Ooh.
and my son dressed up as Azrael, who's a little goat humanoid person.
Right, of course. That sounds fun. Do you guys go around the neighborhood, or do you have like special events that you go to, or?
We just went for our local town's Halloween trick-or-treating hours. We basically went out for almost an hour and a half, and then came home and dumped out all the candy, and then went back out again for the other hour and a half. So
Yes.
lots of candy. Yep.
Nobody trick or treats hardly around here.
Oh, let me ask you this: have you heard of Trunk or Treat?
Yes, I have heard of
Yeah,
that.
done that at work before.
Oh my god, it's so depressing.
No, you know
What is
what?
it?
I thought the same thing, and then I drove by a place that was doing it one time, and it was actually really cool. Like everybody popped open their trunks and they decorated them, and like some of them had fog machines, and some of them looked really cool. You know, it's a lot. I'm just
Like-
saying, it's a lot easier to decorate a trunk than your whole house. We didn't do
I don't
trick or
know.
treating around here. My daughter wanted to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. She's 3.5, so I was really,
Awesome.
Awesome.
yep, exactly. I was really excited about that. That she didn't pick. I don't care what she wants to be, but I was glad she didn't pick because she's also into Disney princesses. But I was glad.
You could have been a Princess T-Rex.
Even better, oh, fusion costumes. But we went to Boo at the zoo, which was fun because I like the zoo, and it took her a while to warm up to it. But she had a lot of fun. She went around, they set up all these things, and you go around to these little stalls and trick or treat, and there are all these little stalls that are sponsored by local businesses. So they give you a piece of candy and then an advertisement for the adults, I guess. And so that was fun. But let's go ahead and close it out here tonight. Thank you guys for coming on, and thank you to our chat room, our live viewers, for coming on and listening to us and giving us questions to ask. Thank you for all of our people who sent us questions ahead of time, gave us plenty to talk about. Again, 2 things that our listeners at home and our listeners live need to do is go to complexaction.net and go to the contact form. You have 2 jobs. First is that Cassie wants you to send her the story behind how she got her street name, how Pillar got the street name Pillar. And whoever sends, Cassie's going to pick from them, whichever one she likes the most is going to be the official story about how the street name Pillar was chosen. The other thing you guys need to do is send us a list of fun superlatives that we're going to all get together and have fun picking for each other in the next cast party that we do. So I want to go ahead and thank all of our patrons who are out there who make this possible and fun. And I'm going to play this while it's going on. There's got to be some music that I can do. I'm just going to pick a random thing here.
An innovative world of electronics.
Oh, God, that was terrible. That was not music. Here's some outro type music. All right. It felt wrong to be doing this quietly. Thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you for you guys make the show possible and make it easy to do all this, especially the ones who helped build the world early on. I love including all of those submissions, so thank you guys, current and past patrons. Again, our website is complexaction.net/actualplay. Go there. You can get the podcast there. We've got links to the current episode, but also there's links to iTunes and Stitcher, so you can get the podcast there. You can also get it on most podcatchers. Just search for Complex Action. If you ever want to contact us, you can send us an email, questions, whatever. Just send us nice words. You can use the contact form that I just talked about on the website, complexaction.net/contact. From me, from all of our cast members, especially the ones here, Cassie, Rob, Cliff, thank you guys for listening. We have a lot of fun doing this, and I especially love how we can get everybody involved in cast parties and other kinds of ways. So thank you guys. And you guys want to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, and Joe Russell. Yes, you can send us a novella about how Pillar got her street name. That would be best. Bye bye, guys, and I'll see you the next time we record. And I will we'll have a cast party soon. So let's do this and then this.
Is that it?
Okay, stop recording. I guess Cliff is out. Cliff was like, we're done. I'm out.
Peace, bitches.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop streaming again. Like I said, thank you guys in the chat room. Bye because I'm probably gonna leave this on the YouTube channel. So, bye.